A place to call home. What's that like again? I can barely remember having one, let alone being able to call somewhere home. My name is Tiffany Cocoa. I'm a 23-year-old lesbian from El Barrio, Spanish Harlem, New York. And I've been homeless for nearly 7 years, give or take. Living on the streets of New York is a battle. Living on the streets of New York and being gay is a battle within itself. I remember during my coming out stage, I was so terrified to tell my family who I really was. I had heard so many coming out stories from friends that mostly ended up with homelessness, either by force or by choice because they were fed up with the abuse that was going on within their homes. I'm not saying my family was the worst, but there had already been a problem with the way I dressed, and I felt that if I came out to them, it would just put the icing on top of the cake. So I held everything in, and I ended up rebelling for reasons I didn't understand till now. Due to my fear of not being accepted by my family, I was led to live a life of homelessness, not knowing how much more fear living on the streets of New York would bring to my heart. After couch surfing for quite some time, it got old, and I knew my only choice and last resort was a shelter. The thought alone slowly dragged me into depression. Ooh. It's hard out there, man.
Come on, girl. We love you. We love you, Coco.
I feared more now than I did when I was with my family. My life was truly at risk from that point on. I was fortunate enough to fall into the right set of people, and living at risk was no longer a fear of mine. I had witnessed others that had gone through the struggle of fighting for their life.
Keep going, keep going. Keep going, Coco.
I had witnessed others that had gone through the struggle of fighting for their life, fighting to survive on the streets of New York. I had then realized how much harder my fight could have been if I didn't have the support of my friends. At this point in time of my life, I was introduced to organizations such as the Ali Fournay Center, Green Chimneys, and Fierce. They helped me to become more aware of the real struggle that most of society doesn't see or neglects to acknowledge. I became proud of who I was and wasn't afraid to voice my opinion and face the real matters that were and still are at hand. Woo! You see, there are many others just like me still struggling to find a place to call home. A place where we are a place where we are free to be ourselves and feel safe. We may not be able to get out of our situation right away, and for most of us, all we have is the shelter. So taking away our last option by cutting funding for services that support the LGBTQ homeless youth will kill us off slowly. We are no different from you. We bleed the same, cry the same, and hurt the same. We need these shelters that give us a place to be free and give us a second chance to live our lives. Sometimes all we need is that second chance. I also want to put in there that not only have I lived in shelters and I was couch surfing, the A train was my best friend. A-train. I think my best experience from anywhere I lived was the A train, just because I love nature, and waking up at the crack of dawn in Far Rockaway watching the sunrise was the most beautiful thing I experienced. So for anybody to say that we can't have money to give us beds, I'm going to take away the money from you and put you on the street so you can struggle with us. So please support us. Thank you.